Hello and welcome. Today we're digging into a devotional text that takes on one of the biggest human experiences there is, suffering. It offers a pretty powerful perspective that's all about hope for a future that looks nothing like our present. So let's break down how it builds that argument.
So, the text kicks things off with these 4 words. And they hit hard, right? Death, sorrow, crying, pain. The source calls these the former things. This is the core problem it's here to talk about. And really, for all of us, these are the tough, unavoidable parts of life. And then, right after laying out that heavy reality, it asks this. This question is the pivot point for the entire devotional. It's meant to shift our focus away from the problem and toward a pretty radical solution.
You see, the starting point here isn't to ignore hardship or pretend it doesn't exist. Not at all. It's to look it right in the face. It's acknowledging this reality, these former things, these struggles that are just part of our world as we know it.
To give this idea some weight, the text brings in a quote from the Apostle Paul. Just this fragment, the sufferings of this present time, really sets the stage. It establishes a common ground, basically saying, okay, we all agree that right now can be full of trials. The message that follows is the direct response to that.
So, after establishing this reality of suffering, where do we go? This is where the text makes a huge turn. It moves straight to its core solution, the promise of something brand new. And it's all built on one foundational scripture.
And this is it. This single verse is pretty much the bedrock for the whole devotional. It's not presented as just a nice, comforting thought. No, it's framed as a definitive promise, a promise of a future where the very nature of existence is going to be transformed.
This really lays out the contrast, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the former things we're so familiar with, and on the right, you have their complete and total reversal, exactly as promised in that scripture. This one-to-one comparison is absolutely key because it's meant to make that future transformation feel tangible, clear, and complete.
So with that promise laid out, the text moves on to actually define its central concept, which is where the devotional gets its name, the blessed hope. But what does that really mean in this context?
So here's the definition, straight from the source. The blessed hope isn't just wishful thinking. It's defined as a specific promise of a future of peace and joy with Christ. But, and this is the crucial part, its function isn't just about the future. It's meant to give believers the strength they need to endure the hardships of today.
And we're back to that quote from Paul, but now with the full picture. The devotional uses the second half of this verse to really drive its point home. The idea is that the future glory is so magnificent, it just completely reframes and outweighs the suffering of right now. It's all about a shift in perspective, a change in scale.
Now, the text doesn't just leave this as a big theological idea. It makes a very deliberate shift from an abstract concept to something you can actually apply in your daily life. So, how do you live this hope?
It does this with a very direct call to action. That's a huge signal, right? This isn't just something to be read and put on a shelf. The goal is for the reader to actively integrate this hope into their day-to-day life.
And here are the steps it lays out. You start by acknowledging your own personal struggles. Then, you actively use the promise as a source of encouragement. The goal is for that encouragement to then strengthen your faith, which in turn helps you keep your focus on that promised future joy. It's presented almost like a spiritual discipline.
And to make it even more practical, the devotional actually gives you a model prayer. Think of it like a script or a tool, something to help readers put these ideas into their own words and turn that abstract hope into a focused daily practice.
So in its final section, the material goes beyond just personal practice. It extends an invitation for readers to connect with a whole community and to make a personal commitment.
Yeah, the devotional is really clear that this hope isn't something you're meant to carry alone. It offers a ton of resources. We're talking WhatsApp groups, social media pages, even coordinated prayer times across the globe. It's a huge effort to build a real, supportive community around this message.
For anyone who might be new to this way of thinking, the text also includes what it calls a prayer of salvation. This is presented as a formal pathway for someone to personally adopt the faith that's being described throughout the devotional.
And this is the final thought the devotional leaves its readers with. It's a very direct and personal message that sums up the ultimate goal of the text, to encourage a state of readiness for the very future it describes.
So, we end up right back at this central question. How does a promise about the future change how we live in the present? You know, no matter what you personally believe, it's a powerful concept to think about. Thanks for exploring it with me.